Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Veeam Backup and Replication version 12 tips and tricks. Today I wanted to show everyone that are interested in their own VTL how you can actually create a virtual VTL and how you can add this VTL. And my specific goal here is to create a VTL on one of the Linux distributions, which is Debian, and then add the server to Veeam. And next, I want to create worm types and show you how you can actually create a worm pool with worm types. Okay, so first of all, okay, I got here a Debian server, and this is Debian 12, newest edition. I just need to pick up all the services here so my Veeam can start up, and then we'll commence with the installation. Okay, let's leave it at this. So let's go to my console. Okay, I'm gonna just squeeze it a little bit so everything will be seen. Right, so first of all, what kind of VTL you can use? So you can create two VTLs. You can create a VTL called Quadstor. So Quadstor is one of the virtual libraries that can be installed, and it can be installed on CentOS, RHEL, and Debian, Slash. So depending on what kind of distribution you want to put it on, there are a couple of them, and Quadstor is currently supporting those packages that are listed here. So we got like two packages here. We got package for Debian 10 and 11, and the newest package for Debian 12. So of course I'm gonna be using this package while installing everything. And another, if I remember correctly, another VTL is called Windstorm or Stormwind. I don't remember. Stormwind probably. Starwind, sorry, Starwind, and the virtual type library. So that's another one that you can actually use. You can download it. Of course, this one requires license, so you can get a free licensing just to check it out for like a suggested period of time. You can download it here, and you can of course install this on a normal Windows server. Perfectly compatible with Hyper-V, vSphere, ESXi based hypervisors. So this VTL, like I said, can be configured on Windows Server. And I actually have one library that is on Starwind, and it's my previous library on Veeam that I have added in one of my videos, my tape library, and this one is gonna be of course based on Quadstor. So it's gonna be a Linux based tape library. So let's start. Of course, I have my notes prepared, so it's gonna be faster. So first of all, we're gonna just download the package that is gonna be needed. So this is the one, of course, as you can see, for Debian 12. Next, we're gonna install all the dependencies that are required here, because without them none of the installation would be actually possible. The total amount is 621 megs. So amongst everything, it's also installing Postgres SQL. So probably you could go with MySQL or maybe MariaDB, depending on what you would like to have. But I'm going with the defaults here. Okay, let's actually check if it's rolling up or not, because those services can sometimes take a long time. Okay, so this one is up and I think it's gonna be going on. Once I log into my Veeam, I'm gonna show you the tape library that I have actually created, and this one is on Starwind. So this is gonna take like a little bit of time because the progress is quite slow because there's a lot of packages. So let's just take a look on my Veeam if it finally loads. Can also take a look here on Starwind. Tape library, disk to disk tape. So as you can see, you got like a couple of different options here depending on what you want. You have a virtual tape library, you have vSAN, VHCCA, so up to you, what do you want actually. Let's check vSAN for a moment. So we can download vSAN as well. It probably also requires licensing, even a free license, so you need to be registered on the website. Okay, so the packages are almost done. So one of the prerequisites here that is required is also Apache. So basically the whole GUI is based on Apache. If you want to make any changes, you need to remember that it's not on Nginx, and if you have CentOS, probably you will need to change it to HTTPD. So that's the only thing that you need to change in this configuration here, depending what kind of distribution you're basing it on. Well, this stuff is taking forever. We'll see. Let's see what's in hardware. VTL appliance, backup appliance, support. Okay, so this one is finished. Let's go with the next step. So the next step is gonna be actually let's see if I have sudo here installed. Okay. So now I'm gonna install a little package called locate, which is very handy if you want to search for something, find it quick. So now we're gonna just unravel everything that is in this package that we downloaded, and the installation is gonna be also. Okay, let's check. So maybe I'm just gonna run this. Okay. So this also is gonna take a little bit of time. Because actually building required kernel modules and stuff like that. After everything unravels here, we'll have the whole installation process actually done. After that, we'll need to actually enable CGI, and then we can actually reboot the machine. After that, we're gonna go to configuration. We're gonna do some configuring. Gonna create a file specific for Quadstor. So for now I'm just gonna pause the video because this is gonna take probably, like it says, few minutes, and I'm gonna be back once the process is done. Okay, so it's done. The next step is gonna be actually enabling in Apache CGI module, and now we can reboot the whole server. Okay, so now what we are gonna do, we're gonna cd our way into Quadstor VTL at C, and then we'll need to create a Quadstor configuration file. In this configuration file, we're gonna specify 3 parameters. We're gonna enable authentication. We're gonna have max vcard size, which corresponds actually to the maximum amount of space that is used in the virtual tape. So if you want your tapes to have 100 megabytes, you specify this parameter. If you want them to have 500, 1 gig, 2 gigs, 250 gigs, and so on and so on. This is the main parameter responsible for this. For now I'm just gonna leave it on 100 because I don't need like 1 gig of space, because this is just a lab. Okay, so now we're gonna go to jump to another directory here. Again, Quadstor VTL bin directory. From the bin directory, we're gonna actually create a user. My user is just gonna be John Connor, and this is the password that I'm gonna use for this user. And this user is gonna be specific for our library. We're gonna be logging into our virtual library with this user and with this password. Okay, so as you can see, it needs to be some kind of other name to pick, so I'm just gonna use probably it's a little bit too short. Okay, so let's actually try to add something. Okay, so I got a minor setback because one of my main services from Quadstor had some problems with the TL server register PID, needed to be restarted, but now it's fine. So if you have any kind of problems while trying to actually do something in the bin directory, you can just check upon your main service. In my case, it just fucking died. Okay, so now when we actually created the user and the password corresponding to it, now we can reload everything. Okay, another thing, I will need to add to my virtual machine another disk. So I'm just gonna add something small here because I don't need much space. Once again, it's just for the purpose of showing. Okay, so I'm just gonna add like 10 gigs of disk space. And of course now I'm gonna create dev SDB. So I'm gonna be using fdisk. Probably after that I need to reboot once again because it doesn't see the changes that were done in the virtual environment. So once it's up, we're gonna create dev SDB, which is gonna be the second disk. I'm gonna mount the disk because it's gonna be used in our Quadstor VTL. And then we will be able to log in with our IP address to our virtual library. Of course, using our previously created credentials. Okay, so now we're gonna do like this. I'm gonna do with all the defaults that we have. I'm gonna write the changes, and now we're gonna check if everything is visible again. So we got the main dev SDA, and we got the second one, which is the 10 gigs that we need. So fine. So now I think we'll actually once again change our directories into Quadstor bin, and from here we're just gonna create the dev SDB. The disk, the 10 giga disk has been added and is going to be used by the VTL. Okay, so now we can actually open our web browser and we can go and check our virtual library. I'm just gonna use the username and password. Okay. So after logging in, we have to do two things. So we need to import changer and drive definitions. So basically we need to go to device dev CGI. So I'm just gonna change it here, and we need to add import changer definitions and drive definitions. I will link both of those in the description because you might have problems with finding them. So go with the links, download them straight to the desktop or whatever folder, because when I tried to actually open them in a web browser and then copy everything into a text file, it didn't work. So I just suggest that you actually just go with the links. Of course, I already downloaded them from the links, so I got both of those files on my desktop, and I can upload them, which I'm gonna do in a moment. Okay, so here's the changer definitions txt. As you can see, this is how it looks after importing everything. And now we're gonna import drive definitions. And there we go. We got both of them done. So changer definitions and drive definitions have been uploaded. Okay, now we're gonna create a VTL using our web UI. So let's open the web browser. Once again, we're gonna change the ending here. We're gonna add a new VTL. Just call it VTL1, maybe something like this. And I'm gonna go with IBM 3584. So let's find IBM. And basically you can choose one of the lots here, so you can choose IBM, and depends which one you want to choose, from 1 to 9. So I'm just gonna go with the first one. Number of V drives, well, I don't want more than one V drive, so if you wish you can specify how much you want. There's like 64 available. I'm just gonna use one for the purpose of this demonstration. Number of V slots, plenty, is just enough for me. And ports, 4 ports, that's fine. So there we go. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna add a V cartridge. So basically now we are adding cartridges to our virtual tape library. Storage pool, of course, the default storage pool. Number of V cartridges, well, I'm just gonna say 4 4 of them. I want them to be worm, of course, because this video is about worm types. And the label, the label. So we need to get the labeling here. Okay, so I had to check. So my label is gonna be EW0001. I'm gonna go with this. Okay, so I'm gonna submit, and now we have created 4 worm types that are gonna be inserted into our library. And basically, well, that's all. So these are the 2 links that I will add below the video, from where you can actually get the changer definitions and drive definitions to download them and upload them. And here is the main page for Quadstor for downloading, of course, Quadstor for Debian or CentOS or whichever. Okay, so once we have the library set up and the tapes are set up, we need to go, of course, to our Veeam. So let's go to our Veeam. Now we can add a tape server. Okay, we're gonna specify the credentials here. Just in case, I'm gonna elevate it. Okay, it's checking for the key fingerprint, so we're going with yes. And now installer and transport components are gonna be pushed and installed on the server. And after that, probably the proxy is gonna be installed, and that's gonna be the end of adding our server, and we're gonna have a new and nice library. Okay, one more thing. I will go back here, and actually at the end I will install IP tables. Okay, so now we're gonna go with next, finish, and now we are here in the next step. So I'm gonna choose, we're gonna actually, as you can see, tape proxy is gonna be installed because the transport is already there. So let's start. Okay, so our tape server has been added successfully. Now the tape library inventory job is actually collecting all the data, and this is our library. We got one drive, and we got 4 tapes that haven't been used. They weren't used, and they are worm tapes. As you can see, worm true. So one one other thing about those worm tapes and actually creating them, I ran into quite a big problem when I wanted to create a worm tape on Windstorm. So if you actually download Windstorm and you would like to create a worm tape, yeah, you can actually have a little bit of problem with this. That's why I would recommend using Quadstor for this kind of operation. Of course, it's up to you which one you want to take. Just bear in mind that you may have some kind of difficulties there. Didn't have any with Quadstor, as you can see. Okay, so let's go to media pools, and in media pools, as you can see, we got three free tapes. So we got four of worm tapes, and now I'm just gonna add a media pool. I'm gonna add a worm media pool. I'm gonna add all of those tapes here. Okay, do not create, always continue using current media set. That's what I'm gonna use. And as you can see, if you are creating a worm media pool, the retention policy does not exist here, which is obvious because worm means read once and write once and read many, so retention policy doesn't apply to those tapes. But of course you can check offline media tracking. So move all offline tapes for this media pool into a following media vault. If you have any vault, so if those tapes are gonna be taken from one place to another, you can actually choose this option as well and configure it. Enable parallel processing for tape jobs using the media pool. So this corresponds if you have more than one tape drive, which I don't. If you remember, I only created one drive and I have only one here specified in drives. So if you have more than one, you can actually use this, and it's gonna speed up the workload as well, because both drivers are gonna be working simultaneously. So basically in the same time they are gonna be doing work for you, and everything hopefully is gonna go faster than usual. Well, use encryption. Well, I don't think I need to correspond to this option. Either you're gonna encrypt it or somebody else is gonna encrypt it for you. So bear in mind, if you don't use it, somebody else might use it for you. Okay, so media pool has been created. The total capacity is 400 gigs because each tape has 100 gigs. If you want to specify the amount of megs, you need to of course do it in the configuration file that I have shown previously, where we have specified 100. You can change this of course, and then you will have different kind of tapes available. Okay, so this is how you can actually create your own VTL using Quadstor, working VTL, with the newest Debian release. I was looking on the internet and I only stumbled upon some old tutorials how you can actually install Quadstor on, let's say, older distributions of Linux. So this is the newest one. All of the tapes, as you can see, are online and they are in the media pool. As always, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.